So do you know many traders who make a living, and what are their characteristics? Tell us a bit about them.
I mean, I know lots of traders who make a living from it, either working at banks or for themselves. I mean, I think what's quite interesting is when they work for banks, what they often fail to understand is the reason why they are profitable is because they're sitting in the flow. They're sitting, in the different, in the flow of the client business. So clients buying and selling stuff, stocks, bonds, FX, whatever you want to look at. And then when they leave their bank and go and set up their own hedge funds and become a proprietary trader at a hedge fund, they often don't perform as well because they're missing that flow. And I think that's actually, that's a classic problem that you see of, again, I think it's self-attribution bias. They think they're absolutely brilliant traders when actually what they are is getting a lot of the information from working inside a bank, and they can't replicate that when they're outside of the bank. So I think that's another example of emotional bias. I think self-attribution bias, I think that one's called.
Have you seen traders and you've thought, actually I can see that guy's got a good future, or girl? Have you seen, is there something in the personality that makes you
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think, and this goes with fund managers as well. Not with fund managers, actually. Humility is quite underrated. The humility to accept that you are wrong and take your losses, I think, is one of the most important things a trader has. Forget about the wins. Everybody is fine on the wins. It's how you treat your losses, to me, that determines whether you're a good trader or a bad trader, because everybody will have losses. So it's your attitude to your losses, not your wins, that determine whether you make a good trader. And like I said, it's emotional detachment. It's to be as rational as is possible, to accept that situations change and therefore your opinion should change, not to be wedded to a particular view, which is one of the emotional biases we discussed. So it's all those attributes, but particularly how the trader reacts to a loss. That to me is a big indication of how whether they'll be successful in the future or not.
And have you met people like that?
Oh, of course, I've worked with lots of traders, and I know lots and lots of traders. So of course, but clearly I tend to know the successful ones because they're still trading. Otherwise, they wouldn't still be trading. The joy of markets is they kind of shuffle out the ones that don't perform relatively quickly. Quite painfully, probably, for some of them.
It must be tough on people who think they've got it and just genuinely haven't got the emotional mentality to deal with it and to deal with it properly.
The ability for the human being to self-delude is quite high, actually. Always to blame somebody else. Oh, the markets went wrong. Oh, something else. It's not my fault. That's a very, very bad signal. If you hear a trader say it's not my fault, something went wrong, that's a very, very bad signal. That's a sell signal to me on a trader.